Hello and welcome to the National Indigenous Radio Service's weekly News in Review. Each week we take a look at the issues making headlines in our communities. I'm Stephen Clark with this week's show. First, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land where we broadcast to. I also wish to pay respect to our elders, past and present. The Greens, conservation groups and traditional owners have accused the federal government of indefinitely delaying reforms to Australia's broken environment laws. The Federal Environment and Water Minister Tanya Plibersek announced on Tuesday the establishment of two new bodies. The Independent Environment Protection Agency, which will be given powers to issue stop work orders to companies in breach of the law, audit businesses and issue fines of up to $780 million or a jail term of 7 years. And an information and data body called Environment Information Australia, which will release a national State of the Environment report every 2 years instead of every 5. While conservation groups welcomed the move to boost compliance, they were also quick to point out the announcement was not accompanied by a reworked Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act, something Labor promised in 2022. The draft laws were originally supposed to go before Parliament by the end of last year, but that was later pushed to sometime in 2024. Callum Murray spoke to Biodiversity Council spokesperson and Yuin man Dr Jack Pascoe, who says Indigenous knowledges need to be included in the reforms.
For starters, Indigenous people manage more than 50% of the land mass, so the stake and the understanding of the country is enormous. But I mean, our old people have just had extraordinary knowledge of the way this country works, that knowledge is still held by communities and still held in country, and so ignoring that voice and that knowledge is, really to the country's peril. We have to find ways of incorporating it and valuing that knowledge equally. That knowledge has to be valued to the same level as Western science because it's been around for so long.
What is the Biodiversity Council calling for after this announcement?
We're really disappointed to see a walk back from reform in this term of government. I'd be highly surprised if that were to change now. I'm sure that will be the position that will be taken. But I think as we move forward on, draft piece of legislation for the EPA and EIA, let's make the stakeholder engagement process far more transparent and do the same as we move towards, what will hopefully eventually be a reform piece of legislation covering, the whole suite of EPBC in the next term of government. Let's make sure we get the process right, make it transparent, and engage with mobs across the country as well as industry and conservation organisations.